and the greatest.
Someone with color. Someone with color. Someone with dash. Someone with color.
What is up, guys? I'm Silas Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, here to educate you on health, fitness, social well-being. Today, guys, the video is not going to be that long. I just briefly want to go over how to properly lean bulk. A lot of you have been asking me, hey man, we know that you're lean bulking right now, but how exactly do you go about doing that? How do you make sure that you bulk to where you can build some decent muscle mass, but not put on too much fat? Now, before I get into it, let me go ahead and say that there is going to be some fat gain, no matter what. If you're bulking, that's just part of the process. Unless you're like just brand new lifting or beginner, if you're bulking and you've been lifting for a little bit, you're probably gonna put on a little bit of fat. The key to a lean bulk is to put on the most minimum amount of fat possible while building the most amount of muscle mass possible. So it's not that hard, guys. It's really like, there's not a lot of like deep analytical science to go into. It really just comes down to, you need to figure out what your maintenance level calories is, right? And then from there, you have a couple of options. You can do a very gradual surplus. So I'm talking like about maybe 250 calories over your maintenance at most. And what you're gonna do is just use that very, very steady caloric surplus, right? And with only 250 calories over your surplus daily, you may gain about maybe a pound or two a month, right? So it's gonna be very slow weight gain, but assuming that you're focusing on your compound movements, that you're progressively overloading, getting stronger, you will build muscle. It will take longer than if you just, went on a full-on surplus or just a straight dirty bulk, but it's gonna be more effective in the sense of you're gonna build nice lean muscle mass without putting on that much fat. So by when you're done with, reaching your goal with your bulk, you may not ever necessarily even need to cut down much, if at all. You'll just be able to get to where you're at and you'll be looking pretty stacked with that muscle mass. Now that takes time. Like if I were to do something like that, for me, it would take at least a good year or two to see some decent results, just because, once again, diminished returns the longer that you lift. With that being said, another way to go about it, and this is what I'm personally doing right now, is you go into a normal surplus, right? So about 500 calories over maintenance. But you make sure that whatever your surplus is, it's not too aggressive, meaning test out your numbers, test out the calories for your surplus. If you're gaining weight too fast, like 2 pounds or more a week, then slow it down. So the way it works is, my goal is making sure that I'm gaining no more than half a pound to a pound a week. So that's the first goal. Make sure that you test that number out for your calories for like, a week or two, and make sure you say, okay, I'm only getting about half a pound to a pound a week. That's great. That's step number one. Step number two, have a goal number in mind for weight. For me, it's 170. Like I started around like 162, 163, so I'm gonna get to about 170, and then from there, decide if I wanna push it to 175 or not. But it's gonna be between 170 and 175. And the reason I'm picking that number is because that's a good, 10, almost 15 pound surplus, where I can just stay there, maintain that surplus, and just focus on building some good muscle at that point. But it's not so much extra weight to where I put on a lot of fat. Now, 10 to 15 pounds, if it's put on too quickly, can definitely lead to a lot of fat. Like if I put on like, the 10 to 15 pounds in like just 2-3 weeks, but that's why the point is to go nice and gradual, half a pound to a pound a week, get to that number. So for me, I'm going like from 162, 163 to about 170, maybe 175, and I'm gonna stay there. I'm just gonna stay there and just build for some months. And then whenever I'm done, I'll come back down to my maintenance weight and see what I have to work with. So that's it, guys. The reason that people tend to get really big or like really fat when they bulk is, well, there's a few reasons. The first one is they don't track their calories. They don't track their macros. They just eat everything in sight. The key to a successful lean bulk is to still track everything. You want to track it just like you're cutting. So that way, yes, you hit that number for your surplus, but you don't go over that. Because if you go over that, then that's going to obviously lead to a little bit more fat than what you're wanting. So you want to hit that number exactly. The second reason, guys, is the fact that people have this mindset that you have to get fat on the bulk anyway. Like, hey, if I want to build as much muscle as fast as possible, the fat just goes along with it, which is true. You are going to get some fat going along with it. That's just part of the game. But how much fat you get very much depends on you. If you're someone where you can just bulk to like, you go 20, 30, 40 pound surplus, then you're gonna have a lot more fat on you. Now, some people can do that and they're okay with it. Like for example, like Chris Jones, he's able to do that, right? He's been lifting for so many years where he has such a good amount of muscle mass to where he can get relatively heavy in a surplus, but still look decent. And plus, because he knows his body so well, he knows he's gonna be able to cut down relatively easily. A lot of people can't do that, especially people who are brand new to it, right? Because you don't know your body that well. So it's better to just do a nice, gradual, steady surplus, build as much muscle mass as you can without getting too fat. For me personally, it kind of comes down to preference. Some people don't mind getting big fat. Me, I don't want to necessarily be fat because I want to still be athletic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still want to be able to move normally. I still want to like go around and take my shirt off if I want to without any type of shame. So that's just me personally. Does it take longer to build muscle that way? Yes, but once again, it comes down to your preference. And that's also the thing you guys have to keep in mind is that for me, I built the majority of my muscle by using this method pretty much. Like very lean, steady surpluses. I can't even really call them bulks, but pretty much very lean, steady surpluses, and then more like body recomposition, just over time, just getting stronger, eating a little bit more as I continue to grow, to gradually build myself. I could probably truthfully be a lot bigger at this point had I just done bulks and cuts back and forth, but that's just not for me. It's not what I want to do really. It's a bunch of back and forth bulk and cutting. Plus, it's not the healthiest thing to do if you're doing drastic bulks and drastic cuts. Now, if you do like bulks, you know, for months, and then you do a nice steady cut, that's different. That's not the same as like, you know, bulking hardcore for a few months and trying to cut weight in like 3 to 6 weeks, obviously. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's how you lean bulk. It's not that complicated. It's just a matter of controlling your caloric input and really tracking those numbers in the same way that you're gonna, you know, track your macros and calories when you're cutting to make sure you're not, you don't wanna make sure that you're not losing too much muscle, right? So what are you gonna do? Okay, I'm gonna make sure I'm only losing about half a pound to a pound a week. It's the same thing, just in reverse. Make sure you're only getting about half a pound to a pound a week. So that's how I'm lean bulking, guys. That's how you can lean bulk if you so choose to. I personally love it because, you know, I don't feel horrible standing next to, you know, Chris or the other pump chasers when they're shredded, but I can still focus on just building the muscle mass that I want. That's it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please leave a comment down below, let me know that you did. If you did not enjoy it, leave a comment down below. Let me know what I can do to get better. Like the video, share, subscribe. Keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch y'all later.
I am the greatest.
Come on,